So, hey, we're back, and I am so excited for today's session. It is Motivational Monday, and I want to say this: a way to make Motivational Mondays great is to make great decisions. You know, the decisions that we make today affect our future. If we decide to do A today, it's going to affect Z tomorrow. So, we want to make good decisions in our relationships. For example, say you get into a heated discussion with a friend, with a mom, with a dad, with a cousin, with somebody. We, at that moment, have to make good decisions. Sometimes our emotions are all over the place. You want to reach out and grab somebody, but that's not the time to do it. We want to make a decision to love. So we got to find it from somewhere, muster down on the inside of you, and find patience, find joy, find a way to walk away. Sometimes walking away, sometimes closing our mouth is the best way to walk in love. So on this Motivational Monday, I want to encourage you to make a decision to love in your relationships, because what you do today will affect your future tomorrow. Today, we have Ericka Moon, Master of Divinity. She was on here before. We talked about how she overcame everything. Now, that was well-watched. People loved it. People are still watching it today. It's such an amazing story to see her journey and how she overcame. I'm so excited that she's here again with us today. And then we've got Sonjequita Johnson, Mrs. Sonjequita Johnson. I know her as Sandra Brown, so I will call her Sonja throughout the videos because that's what I call her affectionately. We're talking about childhood trauma and the effects of childhood trauma and the foster care system. Now, that video was so effective that there were people asking us questions about them, and we were able to share that video and help people through a lot of things. I've used that information for myself personally to overcome, to understand people, to be more understanding, to extend help. You know, that's what Relationships Matter 2020 is all about. It's about helping people in relationships. And you know what? I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim to know everything. I know that each day I make a decision to grow and to be better and to do better. So, without further ado, we will be introducing Ericka Moon and Sonjequita Johnson. Welcome, ladies. How are you?
Good.
Really good.
So I just want you, starting with Ericka, just take a few minutes to share what's on your heart about 2020.
Well, 2020 is the year of the unfold, and what does the definition of unfold mean? It's the opening of God's beautiness within people. People that has been waiting for like years, 10 years, 15 years is going to be stepping into the time of God is making everything beautiful in His time. And so in this time, they're going to just be seeing just miraculous finances increase, jobs that they've been waiting for, babies. I'm seeing people that have been waiting for years to have children having babies this year. So this is the year of God perfecting and bringing out the beauty within people.
That is awesome. You know, that's amazing because you see 2020, I mean, at the beginning of the year, we had coronavirus, then we had hornets from God knows where, we had a fog from the Sahara Desert and just all kinds of craziness. And then we had the travesties that occurred and protesting and just chaos. And there's a lot still going on right now. So you're saying that this year is the year of the unfold and that God is doing miraculous things this year. I think that's awesome. Sandra, can you share what's on your heart?
Just information related to God allowing people to bear fruit, whether it's much fruit or more fruit, or just tapping into their God-ordained purpose and actually fulfilling it and bringing it to fruition. So when Ericka mentioned the blossoming, that's beautiful because, my pastor was doing a series talking about, fulfilling your purpose and destiny through your specific gifts. So allowing those gifts, even though it's a pandemic, even though it's a time of uncertainty, even though, there's civil unrest, allowing your gift to blossom and flourish during this time is what I really feel like Ericka said is going on, even in the midst of trials, tribulations, and uncertainty.
That is amazing. Oh, wow. We have a hope. Some of you guys may not choose to be Christian, may not be Christian, may not feel like this is the right journey for you. We've chosen that path. But all of us have chosen that path. We have decided that this is the best way for us to live our lives. However, we are going to talk about things very practically. We've made that decision for us, but we're not making it for you. It's your decision. It's your choice. We think it's an excellent choice, but we do know that everybody has their own opinion and their own beliefs. So not necessarily pushing that off on you, but this is the path that we've chosen to take. Today, we're going to talk about coping. Now, a lot of times people think of coping when they think of it as a settling, as a just kind of deal with it mentality. But today we're going to talk about when you're going through all kinds of stuff. I mean, especially like 2020, someplace like 2020, how to cope with that situation, what coping looks like. Okay, so we are going to get started. All right. And my first question goes out to you, Sonja. What does it mean to cope with a situation?
Well, if you had to consider to define cope, cope is pretty much not necessarily changing your situation, but changing how you respond to your situation or environment. So when you cope with something, you may, think of the saying, when life throws you lemons, you make lemonade. Take whatever situation you're going through and don't let it overtake you, but let it motivate you to find a way to maneuver through all of the difficulty, find a way to maintain your sanity, maintain focus on the goal, whatever it is you need to accomplish. Sometimes, situations happen out of your control. So finding a way to bounce back or remain resilient is what typically comes to mind when you think about coping.
That's good. Bouncing back, finding a way to focus. Not necessarily what people say about coping. Ericka, do you have anything to share on that? What is coping? What does that mean to you?
Well, coping to me is, I was just talking to my neighbor about coping yesterday, and I was asking her what type of coping, because it's unhealthy coping that people do, and they really have that negative idea of what coping is in that negative way, because some people cope with drugs and sex and all that other stuff. But coping for me, I didn't notice that when I was going through that season with my mom and my dad and, family issues, that I would start to write everything that would bother me. I would write it down. And I didn't realize that was a period where I was literally giving myself therapy and coping with the situation. Instead of, holding it in, I would write it down. That's and good. So that was the way that I cope with certain things.
That's really good. So, Sonja, would you say that writing, those types of things are ways to cope with the situation?
They are. Some people do turn to writing or the arts in order to express themselves, because it's almost like you have to condition or train your body to find a way to go through the situation. It's your mental response, and then it's also your physical response. Like Ericka mentioned, there's bad coping skills, and then there are good coping skills. So you're pretty much training and conditioning your mind and your body to respond in a certain way. Hopefully that's healthy for you mentally and physically.
Wow. Training your mind and body to deal with a situation? I mean, Ericka, did you feel like that was what you were doing, that you were training yourself? What made you want to reach out and start writing or put pen to paper to get those feelings out?
I think it began to happen. I remember like being in grammar school, and we had this opportunity to write this poem. And I remember like sitting there, I'm like, I don't know how to write no poem, but words just start coming at me because I'm not a poem. I don't write poems now, but it was just something that I really like to do. And so I remember I wrote a poem when I look in the mirror, and I had to like, speak it out in front of everybody. Everybody was like, yes, Miss Moon. And so that was the like journey for me to start writing. Like I didn't write every day, but whatever I felt at that moment, I just had the urge to write it down. And so that kind of helped me. Like to this day, I can get journals now that I write like when I'm feeling angry, depressed, or disappointed, anxiety. Everything is in my journal, and when I look back, I'm like, wow, God, I really have overcome that season in my life. And I just wanted to point out today, I was feeling anxiety as I was because I just got a new car and stuff, and everything going, and my body just start like I don't know, like I just started feeling every nerve in my body. I was getting so filled with anxiety. And I know I'm a Christian and I don't bother, but I was just feeling that today. And I just had to just take a moment, even had to call a friend and ask them to pray for me. So I think that's another thing is coping. It's having a friend that you trust and tell them how you really feel. And they won't judge you on how you feel. That's one of the things that I had to do. I was like, listen, I need you to pray now for me because I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling anxiety right now. And she just prayed for me on today.
Were you driving when this was occurring?
Yes. And then I had to take pictures, and I had got makeup on my shirt, on my white shirt, and I felt like that was just a ticker of it. Like I was just like, oh God, I got makeup. Like I'm like, it's not that serious. I was like, oh my God, I got makeup. So I'm like, I felt like my whole day was over because that little makeup that was on the white shirt.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there just trying to scrub it off, and I just felt my body just having nerves. And she just prayed for me.
Yeah. So you felt like you were having an obstacle. These feelings were coming on you. It was like tons of pressure, and you're like, let me call somebody.
Yeah. Let's call them right now.
So Sonja, let me ask you this. What you were saying, you were like, these are physical, these are ways that you have to condition your body to properly react to a situation. Do you think, because it sounds really intentional, like you have to be intentional about these. Are these things where were we supposed to get these skills?
Some of them are learned, and it's simply, modeling, or some of them are taught, in reference to, how you were raised through your childhood, leading up to adulthood. Other times it's life experiences themselves that have cultivated or shaped you into who you are based on how you dealt with the situations that you had to face. So if you felt like you were going through difficult times, had a difficult life, and you didn't know, how to cope correctly, then you might have detoured to the poor styles of coping. Some people have used the negative and the difficulties they've experienced and found positive ways to cope because of what they've learned or what they've been taught, whether it was a spiritual relationship or just the regular parent-child relationship, in order to develop these skills. Some of them are innate. You can't teach it. You're born with it. You have this ability. Babies automatically feel safe when they're around their mother, when they hear that voice, when they hear that sound. So sometimes these are learned, or they're innate, or they are a product of life itself. Your experience has shaped you into developing certain ways to cope.
So Ericka, would you say that your experience helped you with developing that way of coping? in that situation, your life experience helped you develop that coping skill, prayer and talking to a friend and writing?
Yeah, it's a development for me because I didn't know that I was using writing and dancing as something as a release for me to not be depressed as a kid. But as I transitioned to Christianity and accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior, I started to develop a prayer. And so when I would be frustrated, and I still do this today, like if I'm anxious or I'm going through anything, I will write it down. And then underneath that, I will write a prayer. And then after when I get done writing that prayer, I will just get on my knees and I will just tell God what I was feeling. So I just like for the next 5 years, that's what I do. Like, you write, dance, and pray or read the word are my 4 things that help me to cope right now. Because sometimes, like today, that anxiety, I don't care how much you pray, that anxiety or that fear will try to come on you and you have to resist it. And I knew today was like, oh my God, anxiety is trying to take over me right now. And I need someone to pray for me today.
Yeah. So you mean no matter how much you pray, the anxiety was coming against you? Yeah. Would you say that, Sonja, with the condition that I can't get away from it, but talking about the body having a physical reaction, is this what you mean by conditioning yourself to pick up a pen, conditioning yourself to use the phone? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, how am I conditioning myself? Am I saying I need these coping mechanisms, or what am I saying? How am I doing that?
Sometimes it is, the actual, mental note to recognize I need to do something, or like Ericka brought up, she didn't know that engaging in those different tasks was helping to release. Once again, I'm bringing up the point where when we face situations, when we go through adversity or experience any type of negative situation, our responses are based on how our thoughts and our body receives that particular information and processes that information. So if you're going through a situation where you have been robbed, your body is telling you, I want to live. But at the same time, I'm scared, I'm fearful. What can I do to survive? Your body automatically goes, because certain information are sent, from your brain to let your hands know, put your hands up and say, please don't shoot, don't shoot me, or don't harm me. I'll give you whatever you want, because then you start quickly thinking of how can I get out of this situation. Some people may, pick up things from what they watch on television, but ultimately there are different ways that your body will signal you to let you know you're in distress. The panic attacks may happen, or situations may arise where you just sweating because you're so nervous, you're so afraid. You might, have an accident, lose bodily fluids unintentionally if you're to the level, that you fear something so badly. And when you experience those things, you are often forced to recognize when they're coming. Ericka and so many other people are able to express that I feel a certain way when I know I'm anxious or having anxiety about a certain situation. So in order to minimize that or decrease that, maybe I need to do something that brings satisfaction to me. Maybe I need to engage in an activity that will bring me joy, because if I don't, then I'm going to focus on the negative aspect of that situation. So even though Ericka didn't know, she was writing to help free her inner soul from the turmoil, she still picked up that pen and wrote, and it was helping. Her immediate response didn't, kick in to say, I need to go write this down. But she knew internally that she needed to do something to help herself. And there's so many people in the world that do different things like that. She brought up dancing using the arts, poetry, spoken word, singing, so many things are associated with being able to vocalize and verbalize your feelings, expressing yourself through verbal and nonverbal ways, all ties into being able to cope and deal with different situations.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Like this is great. I mean, this is I probably should have gone into psychology myself, but this is amazing because you think about it. I don't want to think about it. I want to ask another question, actually. So what I want to do. So either one of you could just jump on this. How have you been able to, well, let me say this to Ericka. Ericka, how have you, because I know that what you're doing, you've utilized this in your personal life, and I know that you have a ministry where you go around and you share. How have you been able to use what you've taken on as a way to cope to influence and help other people?
Well, it all depends. 'Cause I'm a praise dancer. That's my first ministry is praise dancing. So one of the things that I do, if a song does not minister to me, then I will not minister that dance. Because I feel like that before you can go out and minister to somebody else, you need to minister to yourself. So the first step that I do, I find a song where I'm at in that season. If I'm going through something, I try to like find that song, like just say for instance, the Lord made a way, that song, Lord, you made a way. I would meditate on that song all week. And I wouldn't even put any dance moves to that. And I would just let the Holy Spirit just lead me through, throughout that week. And then when I get to that Sunday, I don't know what I'm doing, but because I've been meditating on that song and really getting myself engrafted into that song, then when I stand in front of people, I'm not trying to, because sometimes like when you praise dancing, sometimes people get into like performance, but I'm literally like, when I get in like praise dancing, I'm literally dancing unto the Father. And so as I'm ministering, people are being blessed. Like last Sunday, I went to praise dance at this small church, and like I just started hugging people. And the lady came back up to me that night after service. She said, "I needed that. You just don't know. I needed that hug." So I'm just really like, that's how I influence people. Like I'm just like very led by, and I know some people probably don't understand when I'm saying being led by the Spirit, but I'm just really led by God and being sensitive to Him, what He wants me to do and to influence other people.
That's good. It's good. I mean, I guess for me, what I see you're saying is that unless it penetrates, unless it does something to help you to move forward in your life, to help you cope with whatever you're going through, unless that it affects you, you're not able to express that to other people. And you believe that your expression is what helps other people. The way that you move, the way that you dance, the way that you interpret your feelings about the song is what helps other people, maybe even in a way to help them express themselves through that song, even though it's nonverbal, but it's communicated. Would you say that, Sonja? Would you say that that's nonverbal communication and a way of expression?
Yes, I agree, 100%. Definitely, the arts, yeah, I keep going back to the arts, are a way to express yourselves and bring out those feelings. So, unless you can allow something to resonate within yourself, it's hard to reflect and convey that to someone else who is watching. So it is important to be in tune with, the song that you're ministering to, and also with that particular moment where you're being used as a vehicle to help someone else release.
That's really good. I mean, I think, when we're kids, we're always asked to, find out what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to, this is what I think of, like, I wish somebody had told me a long time ago that this was amazing. And I think a lot of times we see the arts as something very frivolous. It's not something that's going to make you a lot of money. You have to be extremely talented in order to do it, and so forth and so on. But our lives are not wrapped around how much our lives are not valued by monetary gain. Right. our lives are valued by what's in us, our designer, our creator. That's what places value on us. And I think a lot of times just I remember being young and going to Kentucky Center for the Arts. And I remember seeing people dance, and I remember seeing people act. And, I just thought, I never would. That would never be me. But I did secretly want to. But what I'm seeing, even with the trauma or the experience that Ericka has had in her life, that was a main, like Sonja's saying, that's a vehicle in which she was able to kind of get out, move to the next phase of her life, deal with the pain, because you could drop the pain and the trauma in even acting. I mean, like pretending to be somebody else. You can put all of your, okay, let me let you explain it technically. Sonja, break it down, please.
You're doing good, Andrea. I was waiting. But it's true, sometimes you can develop a way of escape or a separation from the turmoil you're experiencing by going into character through acting, or also allowing yourself to be okay with saying, okay, this particular character is strong. They're vibrant, they're energetic, and they're not like I am. Because when I think about the situations I've gone through, it makes me, more retracted. I'm more reserved. I'm quieter. But when I become free to act, or free to get into that particular outside of my self experience, it enables me to operate the way I want to. When I'm dancing, if this was Ericka speaking, as I'm dancing, I'm releasing, I'm helping, I'm flourishing, I'm renewing my inner self, on top of helping someone else to get to that point as well. It's not just an act that we're going through. We're not going through the motions. There's a purpose behind it, a purpose, to reach someone else, and also to lift ourselves up to where we want to be.
Would you say that, Ericka? Would you say that about you?
Yeah, 100%. I think dancing, and I used to act too back in the day. It's a beautiful thing to just express what's going on, because for so long when I was going through that journey with my parents, I was quiet. I didn't know what to do. So when dancing, and can I say this, where I found dancing at? I found dancing at Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's the time, yeah, Kenosha, Wisconsin, and that's the time my grandma shipped me to Kenosha to live with my mom, because she wanted me and my mom to have a better relationship. And she, like I told her, she said she didn't want us to have like a distant relationship. And at that time, my mother actually introduced me to this dance group. And I fell in love with this dance group. We was called the Dream Team, and we had our little dresses on and stuff. And that was the time where I discovered my gift for dancing, because of my mom. My mom signed me up, and I just fell in love with dancing ever since then.
That's wonderful. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Sometimes I hate to quit, but we're getting close to the time to come into a close. But you know what? I want to, we're going to come back. We're going to have another episode, but I want you two ladies to just express yourself. I'm going to just talk about coping. Just 2020. I know we said that it was a year of blossoming and a year of unfolding. But for the people that are struggling out there, because, this month is September, and it's the Suicide Awareness Month. And for a lot of people, this time is very, very difficult. Social distancing, people that have suffered with coronavirus, people that have overcome coronavirus and are still, there's a lot of uncertainty, whether you could get it again or whatever. I mean, like this it could be heartbreaking. It could be a lot to handle. I know I've looked at myself and I'm like, how much more can this year throw at me? And I know that's people are like, please don't say that. I don't mean that. I don't mean it in that way. Like, I'm not looking for a tragedy. I'm not looking for trauma to come my way, but I'm saying I've witnessed a lot and I've walked through a lot and I've overcome a lot. But some people are not where I am. And I'm not saying that I'm in this amazing place, because at a moment's time, I could not be good. People's mental state is not a sign of weakness for them. It's just sometimes their circumstances are too hard to handle. So ladies, I'm going to start with you, Sonja. Just share your heart about how people can cope in 2020 that still might be facing an enormity of challenges.
Whatever you're going through, whether it's something internally, a physical ailment, or even, some of the issues Andrea brought up, just being secluded from others due to the pandemic, or just wondering, how much can you take on, how much can you continue to bear due to so many issues going on, feeling compacted. I would like to encourage you to find a way to maintain hope, whether it's through writing, whether it's through singing, whether it's through connecting with other people, finding support groups. There's a lot of virtual platforms that have opened up during this time in order to get people to connect, even though they may not be able to meet in person or face to face, within a actual setting. But the virtual platform can be a method of maintaining a connection. In addition to that, whatever makes you happy, go back to that place. If it's something safe, if it's something healthy, do that. If it's sewing, if it's crocheting, if it's spending time with extended family members, even if you have to practice social distancing. And then ultimately, if you found, a connection related to God, if you want to use Him as a guiding force, there's real hope and strength in praying, releasing your cares and your issues to a God that's willing to bear them. And again, I don't know what your faith is, what your beliefs are, but there is strong evidence to support that when people have a spiritual relationship with God, that it does help them. It doesn't erase everything. It doesn't make everything perfect. It doesn't, make everything, disappear. That's, chaotic, but it allows you a resting place. It allows you to go and find something that is greater than yourself, that you can give your issues, your burdens to. And again, I'm a firm believer we are all on this planet for a reason. Our life matters. Our lives are important. There is something that is so significant that God ordained only you to accomplish that. So when you feel like you're at your moment of despair, when you feel as if you don't know how to continue or how to go on, whether it's suffering loss or going through a physical ailment, whatever your situation is, find a way to say, okay, this is what I'm going through, but it does not define me. It's not who I am. There's so many people that were devastated by Chadwick's loss because he suffered in silence, and it wasn't a silence where he wanted people to feel sorry for him or he welcomed a pity party, but it was he wanted to fulfill whatever his purpose was, his destiny. He felt like he needed to help someone else. Now that's what it appears. I don't know specifically, but just find a way, because we all have situations, we all have trials and tribulations that come, different things to circumvent us from being able to go on, but you got to find a way. Writing, dancing, like I outlined, connecting with other people, finding support groups. Those are some of the sure ways. And then mentally telling yourself, I think Ericka brought up, there was something she would write down to help herself. Write down affirmations to help you move forward. If it's a physical thing you need to overcome, write down steps to reach that goal. Challenge yourself to do that, to take the steps on your own. And if you do need someone else to help with, there is nothing wrong with calling someone in to help you, whether it's a therapist, a pastor, or a friend, a neighbor, someone. There are so many outlets available to help those in need, to help you deal with and cope and share the load and burden of whatever you're going through. You are not alone.
That's so good. Ericka?
Yeah, I love when she said self-affirmation and also writing. So my encouragement will be like, whatever you feeling at that moment, buy you a journal. Go to Family Dollar and get you a journal and just write down everything that is bothering you so you can get that release. And also, after when you get done writing that frustration, then if you are a believer of Jesus Christ, then write out the prayers that you want to see and begin to. I do that all the time. Like when I'm frustrated and I am writing it, I'm telling you, I'm writing everything down that frustrates me, what makes me angry. And after when I'm done writing down everything that makes me frustrated, angry, anxiety, I write down my prayer. And that helps me. Then another thing that I will say is finding a hobby. Like you were saying, finding that hobby that you really enjoy. If it's art, if it's swimming, if it's walking your dog, if it's just, talking to somebody. I think that hobbies is something that can help you to get your mind off of whatever it is that's bothering you. I know a lot of people that, into arts, fine arts and, in all types of stuff to keep their mind off of the issue. Because, the more you think of, the more you will become more anxious. And those of you that's thinking about like suicide, is like, that's not God's best for you. You have more. I think that one of the reasons why people commit suicide is because they feel like they're not worthy. They don't have a purpose. They have family issues. They have all these issues that's keeping them from going and progressing in their life. And I just want to encourage you that you have a life and God has given you life and God has given you purpose. It's just up to you to discover that purpose. And sometimes it's not going to come as a whole pie, but God is going to give you piece by piece. So you be faithful of that small detail. If he's telling you and you have that in your heart to do something, then you do it. So it's not over yet. It ain't over until they drop me down. It's not over yet. So keep on going, okay? In Jesus' name.
Woo! I feel happy. Okay, I'm not gonna sing, but I was gonna have Sonja bust a tune. No, I'm just joking. But seriously, what these two ladies said is true. You are important. You were designed with purpose. You were designed with a plan in mind. And yes, 2020 has thrown us some really crazy stuff, but you were designed to make the change. You were designed. You have survived to this point to make a difference. Okay, I'm not going to preach to you, but I'm telling you, you were created. You matter. You mean a lot. You're worth fighting for. You are loved. We love you. That's why we're here. So on this Motivational Monday, make a decision to love. And for those of you that are struggling, for those of you that have self-doubt, that feel like you can't go on, make a decision to love yourself. Make a decision to give yourself a chance. Until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.